The most important question I got was, what is your legacy? Not a material legacy, but if life stops now, how do you want to be remembered? What is your frequency legacy? The Phoenix Frequency podcasts are results from that question. When all seemed burnt in your life, the fertile ash of a phoenix is filled with compassion, love, forgiveness, empowerment, intuition, wisdom, generosity, creativity, resilience, a balance of an evolution and involution, what is needed to rise. I am Nienke van Bezooijen and I live my Phoenix frequencies. On a weekly basis, I share my insights, my resources, and I have guests who Phoenix themselves. If it resonates to you, you're welcome to rise. Welcome to the Phoenix Frequencies. During my time as a TEDx speaker coach and the time I was in a jury of auditions of TEDx events, I saw it over and over again. Not only a language thing, but overall. The tagline of TED is ideas worth spreading. Many people don't pronounce it as ideas, but as ID. In other words, your identity worth spreading. Proving your ID or idea to the world. Maybe you can perceive this as me being fuzzy about it. But to me, there is more to it. Apart from striving for looking good and creating a picture perfect, showing off your results mixed up with who you are can be confusing. How many diplomas, certifications do you need to be yourself? I traveled around the world to learn or fine-tune skills. Shelves full of notebooks and framed printed certifications to fill a wall with. When I had to move, I left them nearly all behind. I trust I will remember and combine what I learned when I feel I need it. I don't need a certification to remind me. There is a tendency in companies where there is scarcity in the labor market to look further than just a diploma that proves a skill or level. It doesn't say anything about who you are. Maybe more what you were able to digest in knowledge. Maybe you don't need a university degree to collect trash, but in cities there's a serious problem when no one collects it. That's not a degree. It's a skill, valuable. Years ago, I coached an owner and founder of a large international organization. He told me they changed the job titles on business cards to the best fitting skill as a description. So the HR person had on his business card his name and making pennies drop. That says it all. What would you put on your card if you had to create this? What is your perfect skill everybody can experience from you, not a certification? How would it feel if you had to let go of the important qualification-based study results? Who are you? Doctor, professor, master in science? Or are you a connector of the dots? A master of the kaleidoscope movement? Are you an anchor in storms? Are you a marketeer or a honey collector to make the bees buzz? The result title or the progress in action? It's a process, not only the result that counts. And how are you in your private life? Are you in identity a parent or retired, or in my case a widow? How do you show up when the doctor will diagnose you? Are you your label of illness? In that case, I will be totally unsuitable to work in any field any longer and contribute to society. Name and fame or name dropping won't save at all. It's not who you are. When there is no value left in your diplomas or results life can kick in and hit you painfully. I remember vividly my grandfather, desperate, in an elderly care home. After he broke a hip in 2004, he asked me with tears in his eyes, "Nienke, can you please tell the nurses I'm a founding partner of KPMG, so the nurses will help me first?" He was so disappointed. I had to tell him the healthcare system he was in didn't work that way. He had become one of the many, and that was painful in many ways for him. And I couldn't be the ideal nurse, the ideal granddaughter as an ID. I couldn't rescue the painful feeling and loss of his identity. This week I got another opportunity to make choices how to align with my core values, or how I am invited to become an identity for someone else. My elderly mom had an unfortunate fall in the weekend and she needed to be hospitalized. For 2 decades, my husband and I were like a tandem in arranging care for 6 elderly in the family. I did the nursing arrangement as a former nurse. He did the practical things. I did the communication. He did the finances. And we stood together in shared values around care. But my husband passed over last year. And for all things that come after that, there is a first time to do alone. Also in this situation with my mother and my father. I also realize another dynamic plays a role here. The role of expectations. What do I expect of myself in this repetition of intense care? What do I want? Can I meet the expectations of my parents? Where do I compromise or sacrifice, and why am I doing that? I'm no longer the old version of myself. And my mom is scared, insecure, and in pain. She longs for the care of a loving daughter who can solve it all. But my identity is not a perfect daughter. Not how she has it in her perspective. I have a choice to cross my boundaries and do reach all her unconscious expectations. Or I make a choice to come from love and compassion and do what I can or can't do for her, in a way that's for both an opportunity for growth, no matter if she can see it or not. My self-respect, self-realization, self-worth, self-esteem, to stay true to my core values, are my building blocks of the foundations for who I am. I am responsible for my thoughts and actions, my consciousness and responsibility, also in this situation. And in the end, I'm not responsible of how I am perceived based on someone else's ID expectations. And from leaving my old drive for longing to be seen, be heard, valued or acknowledged by others, like my parents, my family or my friends, I'm at a point to let go of all of it. The universe showed me another opportunity, because new friends gave me a boost I got in the past from my teamwork with my husband. New times, new situations, and the only thing I had to do was embracing it. Acknowledging my choice of who I am based on my frequency now, how I show up aligned with my core values. That's me. That's not my identity. Where do you cling to the identity of a word, a goal, what you reached, and where can you stay true to who you really are? Explore it. Phoenix.